I'm Rick, and I'm building the Terminator. I've laid up my stock, I've squared it, it's all ready to shape. To avoid mistakes later on, I labelled the top, the butt, and the muzzle. Leaving a little overhang, I marked where the butt was and where the mech is going to fit. Leaving a bit of overhang makes it easier to do the routing, and it's something that you can remove later. I laid the spear on the top with a long ruler and worked out where the muzzle should stop. I marked that on with a square. Again, the overhang can be removed later. My next step was to cut the spear channel using a router. I used a 1/4 inch round-ended bit. I went from just off centre, taking passes from both ends. The channel was widened to spear thickness using a drill bit in sandpaper, and the spear fitted pretty well exactly. The next step was to cut the pocket for the mechanism. In the primitive measurements used by the country of origin, the mechanism is 3 inches long. It's 1/2 inch wide. I used a pencil to mark the position of the pocket, and a 1/2 inch router bit to dig it out. I then turned the stock over so I could then cut out the hole through which the trigger comes. The higher the handle is, the more likely it is that the gun will shoot flat. I wanted to cut a rebate under the bottom of the stock at the butt end to allow the handle to go up high. But first I had to bring the handle up to the stock so I knew where to make the cuts. Using a bandsaw, I removed the rebate. The cut from the bandsaw wasn't smooth, so I used a hand plane to take it down nice and flat. I also wanted to taper the underneath side of the stock so that it was narrower at the muzzle end than it was back near the handle. I measured and cut away the waste with a bandsaw. The muzzle end was 35mm deep. To take away the roughness of the cut, I used a power planer. The handle has a forearm extending forward in front of the trigger guard. This forearm has to extend into the body of the stock, so I had to cut a mortise. I used hand chisels to chop away the offending timber. When the handle was dry fitted into the slot, it all came up snug. And that was more or less all I could fit into that particular work session. I could have tapered the sides of the stock, but I really don't know how wide the roller arrangement's going to be on the muzzle, so I'll leave that for a later day. But right now, my next task will be fitting the trigger mechanism.